Welcome to Straight Line MTB, and today we're talking about the brand new ride concepts, Hellion Elite. All right, welcome back to Straight Line MTB, and I'm very excited to share with you a first ride impression of the brand new ride concepts Hellion Elite shoes. So I have not ridden the previous version of the Hellions from Ride Concepts. The most experience I've had with those shoes is I went to try them on. I'm a size 11 and a half, and when I tried them on, I tried on a size 12, and they still felt a little bit tight, so I ended up not going with those shoes. But for the Hellion Elite, they have been revised. They have their new sticky rubber compound, and from what I gather, it sounds like they're a little bit wider because I have read from some other reviewers and users that the original Hellions were a little bit on the narrow side. So for my first ride, I went on a 20-mile just sufferfest ride, a lot of climbing, a lot of pedaling, and a long downhill to end the show. So I came away pretty surprised because coming into these shoes, just reading the reviews of the other previous model of the Hellions being not the stickiest, and you know, we all know that 510 is kind of the benchmark for tackiness and stickiness on the bottom of the soles. So I was a little bit apprehensive because I have been riding the Northwave Clans, which aren't as sticky as the 510s. So I didn't want to go too much lower as far as stickiness. But I will say on that first ride, I did not have any issues with slipping on the pedals. I didn't have that feeling where I didn't feel that locked in 510 feeling. And again, this is just a first ride review, so we will continue to ride these and update this review in the future, and we will talk a little bit more later in the video about what shootout we're gonna do on these shoes. So let's talk more about the Hellion Elite on the trail. So one of the first things that I did notice with these shoes is how warm they felt. So on this ride, I started about 43 degrees, and I think at the hottest part, it might've been in the high 50s. I did notice that my foot felt a little bit hotter than I was used to. Back to comfort on this shoe, I did feel like they were a little bit more narrow than I was used to. Walking around in the shoe, they were comfortable. I didn't feel like there was a lot of break-in period. I did wear them for about an hour before I took them out on the trail the night before. But I did feel I have a little bit on the wider side of feet. I don't wear a wide shoe, but I think I'm a little bit on the wider side. So I did feel a little bit of pressure points on the fattest part of your foot on the outside of the foot. And that was only really when you're grunting and pedaling really hard. I did feel they're a little bit more compact, but that could be due to some of the padding on the inside needs to get bedded down just a little bit. And then another thing I noticed, it was pretty dry out on the trail for this ride, but there were a couple puddles that I hit, and it seemed like almost instantly that water got right into the shoe. I felt water splash into the holes on the toe area as well as in the tongue. Not a downside if you're riding in the drier trails, but when it's really cold out and you get your feet wet, you're gonna have to deal with that a bit. So now talking about pedal feel. So that is something I think that different manufacturers look at. So I say the 510 are probably more on the harder side, where I felt like I got a lot of pedal feeling from these shoes. I've noticed that in the past and other models that I've worn is that I move my foot around a lot on my pedals to try to find that right balance and right spot for my foot. I am the type of rider that I want to have my foot out a little bit because I don't like to scratch my cranks because we resell bikes and I want to keep them minty fresh. So I did notice that on the Hellion Elites that my foot was in the right spot every time. And I did end up noticing it halfway through my ride. I'm thinking I usually kind of dance my foot around while I'm pedaling, and it seemed like the Hellions found the perfect spot every time. So that was a plus. And again, back to the stickiness of the rubber. When you're looking at these shoes, they look very similar to the old version, and you know, nothing outstanding, but when you push on that rubber, it definitely feels sticky. You can get your nail into it, and I think that's something that we all do with these shoes as we kind of do the fingernail test to see how soft they are. And that really did translate, I think, onto the trails, that they stuck really well, and I didn't feel like I needed any more any more tackiness from this shoe. Another feature of these shoes that sets it apart from different brands is it has the D30 pads in the insole. And what that does is it provides a little bit of cushion and impact resistance. So when you're riding, in case you hit the pedals hard or come down quick, it's supposed to help your foot feel a little bit cushioned and taken care of when it hits. I will say that I felt like it did make a difference. The cushion from the bottom when you're riding, it kind of absorbed that real fast chatter, that sharp chatter on the trail. So I think they might be onto something with this. And so looking at some of the other features, it does have the protective toe cap here to help you in case you're kicking rocks while you're riding. It does feel pretty firm. I push on it and I can't really get through it, which is good. And it also has that protection on the back of the shoe and the heel area to protect in case you go over the bars and smack the back of your foot. That is nice protection to have. I would like to have seen the inner part of the shoe come up a little bit higher to help, you know, that ball of your ankle. I've only hit my ankle on that spot a couple times, but I know it hurt really, really bad when I did it. So I would like to see some shoe manufacturers bring that inside up just a little bit. Also, it has the little elastic part here to get your laces tied down so you don't get them caught in your pedals or the crank. I run my shoe pretty loose, so I don't have that need to kind of tuck them in, but it's there if you like to cinch your shoe down really well. So what does this shoe look like on the foot? I know that's something that we all think about. I will say I give it about a 7 out of 10, where I would say probably the Freerider Pro and the Northwave Clan are probably, to me, the better looking shoes out there. But I still think they did a really good job. Their logoing is nice. It's not over dramatic, just a small RC on it. And again, the colorway is really nice. I like the colors. They do come in a black and gray, but I like this color a little bit better. For value at $140, they're right there in with the big players as far as 510, Northwave, and Specialized. That's not to say that I don't think that all those shoes are overpriced, because I think they are. I think $100 is probably where they should be, but that's not to say that a knock on the Ride Concepts, because they're right there with the big boys. And I think after our first ride review, they're right up there as far as quality and performance. All right, so stay tuned, because I'm going to ride the Ride Concepts Hellion Elites just a little bit more, but we are going to do a shootout as far as other shoes, and we're going to include the Specialized 2FO 2.0s. We have the Northwave Clan, which I've been riding a lot exclusively the last few months. And of course, the tried and true favorite benchmark standard of mountain bike flat pedal shoes is the 510 Freerider Pro. So you're not gonna wanna miss that, so make sure you like and subscribe. And again, all these shoes were purchased on our own, so we are not affiliated with any of these brands, so we're gonna give you the honest and thoughtful feedback that you deserve. Again, thank you guys for joining us. Don't forget to follow us on TikTok and Instagram at straightline_MTB, straightlinemtb.com. And again, don't forget to like and subscribe, and thank you, and we'll see you on the next video.
This
All right.
is touching there, and you're hitting the shoe when you're talking.
Got it. So I'll start from the top.
Please do not.